90% of Meta Applicants bomb this parentheses problem. Let's fix that in 60 seconds. It's called minimum remove to make valid parenthesis. We have to remove the fewest parentheses to make all parentheses valid. Now let's see how we can solve this. We will use a stack. We will iterate over the input string, and whenever we see an open parenthesis, we will add that index to the stack. Whenever we see a closing parenthesis, we will attempt to pop the stack. But if the stack is empty, then we know that closing parenthesis is invalid, so we remove it. Now let's try that algorithm on this string. Whenever we see a character, we don't care, so we ignore it. We see a closing parenthesis, and the stack is empty, so we know it's invalid, and we will have to remove that. We see a B, we ignore. We see an open parenthesis, so we'll store the index in the stack. Ignore the character. We see a closing parenthesis, so we pop, and now we see another open parenthesis, so we will store that in our stack. At the end, you'll notice that we had an invalid closing parenthesis at index 1, and we still have an index 6 within our stack. So we need a data structure where we can store these invalid closing parentheses. We can use a hash set in this case, as insertions are O of 1. So by the end, you will be left with the hash set and a stack. And these are the indices of the invalid parentheses that we want to remove. Let's hop into the code. First, we will create the stack and the hash set we need. And now we can iterate over the string. And as we discussed, if it's an open parenthesis, we will store the index in our stack. And if it's a closing parenthesis, we will check if we can pop, and if we can't, we will store that invalid index. Otherwise, we just pop the stack. Now we will consolidate the indices of the invalid closing and opening parentheses. Now we will use a string builder to build our answer by skipping over the invalid indices. We loop over our input array and make sure that it's not an invalid index. If it isn't, we'll add that character to our answer. And if we run, it should pass. Let me know what you think the complexities are down below, and like and follow for more daily tech content.